You're nowhere comparable. This is dominant because of its intelligence. This is dominant because of its consciousness.
Is it natural to love someone and yet be sexually attracted to others?
How much volatility, how much pain, how much suffering she went through in her life, and how much pain and suffering she caused because of her anger and jealousy and whatever else. A sexual interaction is something where a huge amount of memory is taken from one to the other.
Why can't one husband be with multiple women and one woman or a wife can be with multiple husbands in today's society among consenting adults? And what impact do these people have when they're involved in such relationships?
See, body is the front end for every other creature on this planet. The only reason this creature is dominating this planet is not because we have the best body. You're not comparable to an elephant or a tiger or anything for that matter, you're not even as good as a buffalo. Yes, in terms of strength and physical prowess, you're nowhere comparable. This is dominant because of its intelligence, this is dominant because of its consciousness. But right now, we are creating a world where your biology is the front end of your life. These things were done at a certain time when the social situations were such. Or men were married to more than one woman. This was mainly because men died more often than women. But at that time, largely women stayed home because she was continuously pregnant. From the age of 14 to 45, 50, she's almost all the time either she's pregnant or she has a young child. This is how life used to be. So because of that, she stayed home and she took care of the property and the agriculture and stuff. Man went out to do business or for war or something else, he went out. So men always died more often. So generally, in most societies in the past, the number of men was much less than the number of women, always. So naturally, when so many women were there, they needed care and they needed support in the society. And those days, a woman could not exist by herself. Unless she's protected by a male partner, it would be very difficult for her to exist by herself because she would be exploited in so many different ways. So always they attached themselves. So naturally a man ended up having 2, 3 women because the population ratio was like that. But now largely it's leveled out. This is a certain framework of not just of bone and muscle and flesh, there is a certain energy framework. Only because of that, it takes in a certain form. See, if you eat mangoes every day, and let's say a cow eats mangoes every day, at some point, will you or the cow get confused whether you're a cow or a human being? Or will the cow get confused? Such a thing never happens because there is a clear-cut inner framework to which flesh and blood is added. But there is a framework, an evolutionary memory framework is there, it never gets broken, isn't it? So in this framework, how strong you keep this framework, how much integrity is there to this energy framework will determine many things about your life, many aspects of your life. Especially if you want to raise this life to another level of function, it's very important you maintain this integrity. This is why irrespective of which religion, which spiritual process, if people want to raise themselves to a certain point, first thing they will talk about is becoming monks or brahmacharis or sannyasis, because the idea is to create such a level of integrity that this is a whole life by itself, that it doesn't lean on anything else for support, either for physical well-being or emotional well-being or psychological companionship. It doesn't lean on anything, it stands by itself because you want to take it somewhere else. If you want normal function, these things are not necessary. Now you want to become a rocket which breaks through a certain dimension of space. Now you need to be in a different level of force and integrity, otherwise it'll crack up. So you don't want to open your body to anything, and especially opening to multiple partners has its own negativity in that context. How much pain, and you look at Draupadi's life, how much volatility, how much pain, how much suffering she went through in her life, and how much pain and suffering she caused because of her anger and jealousy and whatever else. So, these things happen for variety of reasons. You can't blame everything on that one aspect, but that aspect also has a say in these aspects because you're opening up your memory body, your energetic body, which is essentially ruled by memory, to variety of memories. This will cause a whole lot of turmoil within the system, which could affect that life and many other lives.
Sadhguru, how can a person stay committed to someone in a relationship? Is it natural to love someone and yet be sexually attracted to others? What should be the proper course of action that should follow, or how does one handle this?
Integrity does not mean morality. Integrity means you create a situation where it works best for you. So when we say integrity, suppose I say, there is a certain integrity to my body, this means it's strong and resistant to a whole lot of things, isn't it? It doesn't mean I'm morally stuck in something. Now, the nature of the body is such that anything that you touch with a certain level of involvement will naturally absorb that memory. Not mentally, physically it'll absorb that memory. Traditionally in this culture, we call this runanubandha. You heard of such a word? Runanubandha. What this means is physical memory that you gather. In India also it's very much there, in South is very strongly there, North maybe it's become weakened. People never give salt to another person. Do you know this? Here also? If somebody gives you salt, you say, please keep it there. Because there are certain materials which transmit memory much better than others. Salt, sesame seeds, lemons, like this if you give traditional people, they'll say, keep it there, I will take it. Because they don't want to develop runanubandha with you. Now, in India, if you see older generation of people, if you try to shake their hands, they'll do like this, because they don't want to get runanubandha with you. Because the idea is to keep the integrity of your body's memory in such a way that it doesn't become vulnerable to other things, that you become a very integrated life. If you want to nurture yourself to be a certain possibility, then you have to maintain the memory integrity. This is what runanubandha means. You keep your physical memory to the minimal. A sexual interaction is something where a huge amount of memory is taken from one to the other. So always, not in this society, everywhere else, forever people saw the advantage of keeping that memory to the minimal. If you make that memory very complex, you will see to be at ease will become very difficult after some time. There will be pleasure, but there will be no joy in your life. You can observe people, don't go by what I'm saying. You can observe people, they will have pleasure, they will giggle all the time, but you look at them, there is no joy in them, there's no ease. Because the ease will go away with excessive memory. This is not only with sexuality, there are many other things that you do like this. Right now you see this very much in the Western societies. Generally, the course of life is considered to be approximately 84 years or 1008 cycles of the moon. The cycles of the moon and our body is very directly connected. Only because our mothers' bodies were in sync with the cycles of the moon, we are born, otherwise we wouldn't be born, isn't it? So, a full life is considered 1008 cycles of the moon, which will approximately considered as 83 to 84 years. So if one crosses 84, it's considered a full life. In this, the first quarter is the only time when it is connected to parentage. After that, the child must move, because energy-wise, you cannot connect those two lives anymore. So that is when the longing, if you have not created enough integrity within yourself, the longing for another body multiplies. Even though the hormonal phase may be higher between 15 to 20, the longing to bind and bond with somebody increases after 21 years of age, because unknowingly you're like a satellite who fell off the main mother. You come off the motherboard. Now you want to attach to something unless you find some integrity. This is why between 12 and 18, one must do lot of sadhana to strengthen the body, so that you don't desperately bind yourself to something or somebody. You must consciously, if you wish to take a partner, it must be a conscious process. If it's a compulsive process, then you will pay the price for it. This is not a question of morality. It is not that this is sin, that is sin. The question is, what is your priority in your life? If your priority is to make this life rise to a higher possibility, then you must be conscious. If you want to somehow live and go, it's okay.